Oh, good evening everybody. I see there's a few here already. I've just slewed across to the area that our elusive comet seems to be in. So I'm just waiting for the scope to settle down before we start having a look, see what's out there. I just want to welcome everybody again to this evening's searchings. Well, because of how faint it was last time, I've got the camera cranked right up, and as you can see, we've got amp glow already appearing in the bottom right hand corner. I think this is going to be with us for the rest of the time we're looking for this comet. We're just doing a 90-second exposure. We've just swung across to the area, and I am 99% sure we're going to find the remnants. Not sure how good it's going to be, but fingers crossed we're going to find something. For those new to the channel, the equipment we're using is a Skywatcher 300mm. It's a reflector with a focal length of 1500mm, but we've also got a Coma corrector in the light train, which is a 0.9 multiplier, so the effective focal range is 1350, and we've got an f ratio of greater than f4.8. Right, let's have a look on this screen, see if we can see anything that resembles our comet. Can't see anything initially there, although there's a bit of a smudge there. I'm going to track half a screen left and half a screen up, just to check the area top left. Just let this exposure run through, and then we'll just drop the exposure down to 1 second, and then we can track our movements using the visible stars on screen. Good evening, Myra. Welcome to the channel. We're trying to find the remnants of Y4 Atlas, and at the moment it is being a little elusive. We're using the same equipment we've used in the past, and we've got it dialed in for the sweet spot for the settings. So when we're roughly on target, we'll do a full exposure of 90 seconds with a gain of 250. The camera is ZWO ASI 174 mono. It's got a cooling modification on it to keep the sensor cool. I've got it switched on at the moment, and it should be keeping the sensor 22 degrees below ambient. Right, this is the next sector we're looking at. Unfortunately, we need to keep it cranked up to this sort of overexposure, and the histogram pushed right over just to pull it out of the background. We've found it every night so far. We've got a 100% hit record so far. And I'm looking at the screen, I can't exactly pick it out yet. I know it's going to be really, really faint. I think we'll wait for this 90-second exposure to come round, and that's going to be our best chance of picking it out of the background. Unfortunately today I've been suffering with hay fever, and my left eye is a little under par at the minute. I think there's something there. Can't be sure till this exposure comes in, but let's have a look. We might swing over to have a look at that asteroid as well later on, if that's still within my horizons, because that's a fast mover, that is, and it was getting pretty low for my observing position. Right, what have we got? No, I can't see anything there. I'm glad I've not got a face cam. It'd look like I'm winking at the camera all the time. I can't exactly see anything on that area. Just going to move south a little bit. Just restart that exposure. Normally I can pick it out pretty quick. I know we're in the right area because I did an alignment on the first switch on this evening. I think it was Capella I did the alignment, which is just southwest of where we're looking now. Right, let's see what this one brings up. What time we got? 10:15. Well, I'm only going to be on a short stint this evening. I've got another early shift in the morning, so I'll That looks interesting. Could that be it just there? Let me swing that star closer to, I think that's it just there. Let me get that particular star closer to the centre of screen and do a longer exposure. Let me drop that down to 4 seconds. That star there, I'm just going to bring it to centre of screen, perhaps that one to about here. Because I think it's just there. I can see a definite smudge just there. Right, let me bring these across. Right, let the scope settle there a second and we'll do a long exposure on that. Because I've got a feeling that it's just above this star, just here. "30 seconds time, we'll have a good idea." Right, let's stretch this. Yep, I can see it. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but when I sit back I can see a definitive smudge just there. See it a little bit better on that screen there. So we've found it again, so our 100% location record is intact. Right, now I'm going to crank up the exposure to 90 seconds and see if we can pull any detail out of it. Even though the histogram's been stretched to within an inch of its life, we may be able to pick out some of the more solid elements. So fingers crossed. It doesn't look like there's a lot left of it, to be honest. Could be a couple of small fragments there, look. But that star's right in the wrong place for us to get any detail of where the main body should be. This exposure is going to be 90 seconds, so it's going to be super overexposed and the histogram well overstretched. But I'll tweak it down a little bit, see if we can pull any debris out of the murky background. But yeah, we found it again. Ah, I can definitely see it now. I knew it was overexposed. A bit of movement on scope as well. It is still a little bit blustery. I seriously don't think that's the head. That's got to be a background star. Yeah, indeed, I can see a tail as well. And in this exposure, it's looking a little bit more pronounced. I think the end of the coma is there, just behind that star. It looks like it's flattened out a little bit, and it's got 1, 2, 3 possibly parallel running fragments. But I need to get a lot more definitive exposure on that. And ideally both eyes. Now to me that does look like a flat leading edge of the coma. Yeah, I think it could be behind the star, or rather in front of the star. So it's going to be about another 20 minutes or so before it comes out into the open. But from what I can see right now, there's a definitive area that's not exactly rounded. It looks like it's a flat line. And if you look on the smaller non-magnified section of there, you can see a gap just behind the star. There's a gap just there. I have to sit back from the screen to see it. Move that out. Yeah, I can easily see it with that. Let's just switch all the stretching off. And it virtually disappears into the background. Now that's easily visible. That's easily visible. There's a piece there that could be a remnant of the main body, and I'm not sure if that piece there is a remnant or if it's a background star. We'll just have to give it a little bit of time to move out that particular area and see what comes out. And the sensor is being really overdriven for that amp glow there, causing us problems. Well, I feel pretty happy with that we found it again. Yeah, I think that could be a fragment. I think that bit there just behind that star is a fragment. Did you see any of the earlier images we got from earlier last week before it breaking up? I can bring a couple of those up while we're waiting for the next exposure. But yeah, we can definitely see some tail there. Right, if we have a look here, that is the start of the breakup. It's at a slightly different angle because I don't always orientate the camera to the same angle when I refit it. And looking at that, yeah, there's definitely a piece of core left on that. And there's the start of the breakup. And look at that compared to what we have this evening. Just a small piece there. We've really got to wait for it to clear that star there. And for 90 seconds you can't even see it on an unstretched exposure. Move this out of the way. Alright, let's stretch it again. Yeah, it doesn't make it a very pretty picture when you stretch the histogram, but at least we can see it's still there, and we can definitely see part of the tail. And I am 90% sure that is a core fragment just there. Not so sure about that piece, but that piece there that's just hitting that star right now is moving along with the actual comet main body. So I think that is going to disappear on the star. If that stays the same equidistance there, that's a background star. But if that moves forward, that could be a fragment. Indeed, it was very, very bright. It was slated to be a naked eye comet by mid next month. So you wouldn't need binoculars or anything. You'd be able to see it just, if you knew where to look, stand outside, you'd see the tail and the main body. But it's decided to do its own thing. Yeah, we'll see in a second if that moves. It could be a fragment. If not, if it stays the same distance across there, that's a background star. But that bit there is definitely a fragment. That bit there. Four more seconds and we'll find out what moves. So that's the piece we want to see. Now that looks like it's a background star, but that piece that was just there is definitely a fragment, because that's starting to merge into that star that's fixed at the moment. So let me just move the magnifier out of the way. It's just disappearing behind that star. Let me clear all the stretches from the histogram and see what it's like on a 90-second exposure without any modifications, and it's virtually invisible. It's virtually invisible. It's not a super high-end camera, so it should be able to pick something up, but without tweaking this histogram we can't even see it in the background. So without doing that we wouldn't have found it. So let's have another stretch. Now I'm just stretching the other part of the spectrum this time, see if we can bring a different piece out. No, that's not going to work, so let's keep it at that. Yeah, there are quite a few. There are quite a few. If I'll just bring a web page across onto the screen, and I'll show you what I use for my data to find this. This is a live tracker, and if you use ordinary Astro software to say navigate your way to this star, you can hop your way across to it and find it. And that star there, TYC 4085115-1 from the Tycho catalogue, that, if we go back to the main view, would be that one. So that star there that it's merging into right now will be that one there. So this live tracker is pretty accurate. And this brighter star, let's have a look again, would be that one. So the camera is pretty well orientated to the actual view of that, which I'm quite pleased at. I didn't expect it to be that accurate. A bit of movement on that one, so that's not going to be a very good exposure. I've got some more joined us this evening. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we've actually found Y4 again, or what's left, the remnants of Y4, but it's just been a little bit shy and it's hiding behind that star there. We were just looking at the reference screen that I use for locating it, and it virtually lines up perfect. There's that star, bottom of our screen. Let me see if I can shrink this. Yeah, if I can just stretch that just a little bit, there you can see star for star, it all lines up with what the predicted position would be on this the Sky Live site. So I keep using that one all the time for locating these. But saying that, the site also contains quite a few of the brighter comets and asteroids in the area, even the dwarf planets that are passing by all the time. Yes, it is. That's Atlas. Atlas C 2019 Y4. I've got it marked down as C4. Damn it. Slight correction there to my misspelling. It is indeed Atlas Y4. What's left of it? We're just waiting for it to pass from that behind that star there, or in front of that star there, because it's masking what would be the main body at the front of the Coma. So at the moment we can't see anything because that star's in the way. So far we've had a 100% success rate. Every time we've been live, we've actually managed to land on it. Earlier on, when it was nice and bright and intact, it was quite easy, but at the moment it's fading quite rapidly. And if you have a look at what it looks like without manipulating the histogram, a 90-second exposure, with a reasonably high gain, you can't even see it, can't even pull it out from the background. Now the last couple of nights it's been getting fainter and fainter, so I don't think it's going to get much brighter, even though it is getting closer to the sun. From our perspective, it might brighten up just a little bit. All depends how much there is left of the main body and the density of the dust it's leaving. But from that view, it looks like that star is the main body. Very deceptive. There was a section earlier on that I thought might have contained the main element, but at the moment it's right on top of that bright star. As you can see, the current exposures are 90-second with a gain of 250. We found that that is the sweet spot for this particular camera and scope combination. Yeah, that's it should be emerging from the main part of that star soon, and we should be able to pick out a little bit more detail. The histogram bell curve is changing as well, so we might be able to tweak a little bit more out of it. Now that star's just in the wrong place. It's just in the wrong place. So we've got to wait for it to clear before we can start having a closer look at it. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming over the weekend, because I've got to do a little bit of maintenance on the mount. I'm going to re-grease the bearings and rebalance the tube and do a little bit of cable management, because it's summertime. It's the time of the year where you do normal maintenance. You might be able to see the Comet snow, but I'm not sure about Atlas Y4, unless I've got a completely different Comet on my screen. Let me just clear all the Comet there is just hiding behind that star there, look. And if I just clear the stretch, you can't see it at all through there. Unless my equipment's really letting me down, I don't think it's a naked eye Comet. There are others. Let me go to bring you some information up. Sorry, this Comet Swan C2020 F8. That one's getting really bright. That's magnitude 7, 7.4. So that one could well be visible with the naked eye. But I think when it's within the skies of America, this Atlas Y4, I think it's just pre-dawn. So I'm not sure how visible it would be pre-dawn. I'll just bring you this screen across and show you it in a comparison. That's Comet Swan C2020 F8, and this is Comet Atlas C2019 Y4. Although the magnitudes are very, very similar, that's magnitude 10, this is magnitude 7.9, it says this one should be brighter. But I'm not sure if these are, observed magnitude of 7.4. Now on this one, observed magnitude is not available. So I think it's so faint, they can't get an actual measurement of it. And the next one along, C2019 Y1 Atlas, is a magnitude of 8.1 observed magnitude. So this one that we're actually looking at now is indeterminate of visual magnitude for observations. Yes, I am. My observatory is in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm Central UK. Mansfield in Nottinghamshire, if you wanted to have a look it up on the map. So I'm pretty central. I'm at a latitude of 52 degrees. And there you can see it's just merged into that star there, so we're not going to get anything meaningful till it's passed there for a few minutes. Yeah, it's just coming out, emerging from the bottom part of this star, so it shouldn't be too long now before we can get a proper look at it. If you like what you're seeing, if you give the stream a like, it helps enormously, so I know people are watching. And if you want to join in further expeditions into the stars, why not subscribe and get notifications when every time I go live. We won't always be doing this one, but in the near future we're going to be doing a moon tour, starting at the Apollo 11 landing site area. Although we won't be having the resolving power to see the landing site itself, we'll be able to get pretty close and see all the surrounding area. Right, the bell curve's changed again, and we can just start to see just here it's emerging from that star and dropping below it. I might set up a set of exposures just to see if we can bring any extra detail out. Right, let's see if we can have a look at test. Which one? I think we used this one last time. Right, after this exposure, I'm just going to run this sequence of 30 exposures, same binning and same camera gain of 250. That's wrong, that's on 30 seconds. We need 90 seconds. Just edit this up to 90 seconds. There we go, update that. Right, we're going to do 30 exposures at 90 seconds, give me time to have a drink. Nice hot cup of tea. and then we'll play back through those 90 exposures. Yeah, it's emerging now from beneath that star. I can actually see what was the front of the coma earlier on. Let's see if I can just tweak the histogram a little bit. Yeah, I can see it from here. I don't know if you can see it on your screens, but it's just starting to emerge from underneath that star now. Right, now it's there. The stars are pretty round, so the focus is pretty good. I'm just going to start this sequence and see if we can get a like a stop frame animation of it as it moves away from behind that star, or should I say in front of that star. And I'm just going to leave you for a few seconds. I'm just going to make myself a nice cup of tea. Back very shortly. Right, back with a cup of tea in hand. Sorry about the overexposure there. Didn't realise what was going off. Right, move the magnifier out of the way. Sitting back from the screen, I can definitely see it emerging from beneath that star. Right, let's do a little bit of a tweak and see if we can pull some detail out of the background. There we go. I think that bit there could be the coma. That brighter bit there could be the main body within the coma. So there's still enough there just to pick out. Right, I'm just going to shut the door. It's getting a bit cold outside. Right, back. Yeah, definitely get some more detail there. Move this out of the way so we can see the tail. So we've got a definite tail, a definite piece of body towards the front. I think there's a piece of fragment just parallel with that star. Just there, look. So I think there are fragments still breaking away or still within the general area of the tail. Let me just clear the stretch and see what we can see without. Possibly a piece there, look. And something just there. So I can see possibly 3 pieces within that. Oh, that's nice tea. Yeah, that's definitely a significant piece left. I really didn't expect there to be that much left after the last couple of sessions. And if I just go back to the image collection, yeah, it's still not as solid as it once was. But it is definitely stretched out from what was the main core. Let me just do a different stretch, see what we can find. Yeah. Yeah, I can still see a definitive tail coming off it there. But we really have to manipulate the histogram to get meaningful data from it at the moment. Definitely core there. Right, another 5 seconds and we should have the next exposure. As long as the wind's not going to give us any grief like it has been in the last couple of evenings. Oh, that one's done. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's still a pretty significant piece of the core, that is. Yes, these 90-second exposures with this gain setting, I think, is the definite sweet spot for this target. Well, between work and these late sessions, I've not been having much time to stack the data to compile them all into a solid image. So hopefully on a Sunday when I've not got work, if I get progress on stripping the mount and re-grease, rebalance and all the rest of the servicing I need to do, I'll spend a couple of hours with the data in the evening and see if I can put together a couple of solid images. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. It helps me to know that people are taking notice and enjoying what I'm doing. And please leave a message. All these little things might not mean a lot to everybody, but they mean a lot to me. Know that I'm doing something that everybody's enjoying. Yeah, it's definitely clearing that star now. And from where I'm sitting, I think there are two, possibly three main elements to that forward core just there. Yeah, I don't think it's one. I think there's definitely multiple elements within that forward piece, that forward section. Easily two, possibly a third. We've got buttons. Let's press buttons. Yeah, that easily picks out two pieces. And I'm not sure if these are pieces of it as well. Well, if nothing else, that shows two main fractions of the main. Yeah, that. Yeah, two pieces there. Clear that. Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. What time have we got? 2 minutes to 11. This sequence of imaging will finish at 36 minutes past 11. Right. I think we'll have a quick visit to a secondary target after this one finishes, just for a short visit before I close down for the evening. I've got a very early shift in the morning again. Lots of charlatans out there. Now, this is a hobby. This is something that I enjoy doing. I don't pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm just sharing with you out there the things that I enjoy looking for. I'm effectively exploring the universe from the comfort of a gaming chair with a cup of tea in my hand, and you're coming along for the journey. And I wouldn't really class myself as an astronomer, just a keen observer. And let's have a look at this. And I like pressing buttons. Yeah, two pieces there. Let's stretch it again and let's see what we can pull out. Yeah, manipulating this histogram can reveal a lot more than just a standard photograph. So when you see a lot of people taking pictures, well, when I watch other people taking pictures, I'm just itching to get my hands on the histogram just to tweak it a little bit to see what else they've actually captured. A new red comet discovered. No, I've not heard about that one. If you've got a link or anything, or a bit of information, Comet Witness. Right, I think this is a time to bring in the most important bit of equipment, Google. Yeah, there's still a definite main body just there. Right then, red comet. All I've got coming up is Game of Thrones. Witness. Right, let's try that name. Oh, Neowise. Right then. Well, the first part of Neowise is Near Earth Object. (2020 F3). Let's see if it's in this. Found it straight away. Here we go. Let me just get the tracker up for you on screen. Right, I'll bring it over. There we go. Comet C 2020 F3 from Neowise. It's travelling at 37.4 kilometers per second, 241 million kilometers away from Earth, and it is actually travelling towards the sun, or the distance, the sun distance is reducing. July the 3rd, 2020. Hey, just before my birthday. They could have waited till July 25th. Then I would have had something to celebrate on my birthday, apart from clouds. But yeah, it's travelling pretty fast, as you can tell by the distance between the predictions. That's 4.5 hours worth of travel in those distances there. Unfortunately, it's below my horizon. It's well below my horizon, so it's not within range of my telescope. If we go to the planetarium, below ground for me, this view is set from my location. So if I looked out now, outside my back door now, or to the west, these are the things I would be seeing in my local sky. This is what I can easily see within my horizons of my local sky, and if I look straight up My view from my window where I'm sat now, I can see that direction from an elevation of 30 degrees. So my limiting horizon is 30 degrees because of the local surroundings, the houses and everything. So there it is, and it is to the west. So that is literally looking through the front of my house, that is. So I won't be able to see this one, unfortunately. And I don't think it will necessarily come into my horizons. It's a pity that. It'd be a nice one to have a look at that one would. Right. Back to Comets. Let's have a look on here. Right then. If you go to this site, theskylive.com, it's very, very useful. It has a lot of information, starting with planets, then it goes to near-Earth objects, comets, asteroids, probes. It's even got a 3D system, for solar system, and the planetarium, what you were just looking at. It gives you a guide, and it shows you how to find the constellations. A nice, easy way of navigating the skies. Also on here, although I'm in the comets section here, it gives you a little breakdown of what the symbols mean. Now, if you've got the eye on there, normally it's on this top right hand corner where these stars are, it means it's naked eye visible, really easy to find. And the most important piece for me are these little telescope symbols. As you can see, this one, Comet Atlas C 2019Y4, has a green telescope. That means it's within my horizons and I should be able to get to it with my telescope. As with that one there next to it, Y1. And T2 Pan stars, which I've imaged in the past. And nearwise is red, it's below my horizon. And it's very, very dim. Observed magnitude of 11.4, which is really dim. And if you go through it, there are quite a few pages full of all these comets, and the higher the number to the page you get, the more significant a telescope you're going to need to pull it out of the background. Magnitude 30, which is really, really faint. Right, let's go back to comets. Asteroids. Not many asteroids in my horizons this evening. Right, let's move it back and let's have a look what we're capturing. Now, there's a surprise. There's a lot of data there. You can see the what's left of the main body, and I've missed a bit of data now, so I'm not sure if there's anything other than that main section. Let's just clear all the adjustments. So it is still visible, just pulled out from the background. The camera is running at about 6 degrees centigrade, which is, I think it's about 8 degrees below ambient, because it's quite warm outside, although there's a breeze. And we're not doing too bad on observations. I've also got the heater turned on this time, because there was a little bit of dew build up on one of the inner glass windows. And I nearly let my cup of tea go cold. Yes, as far as equipment goes, the big mug of tea is high up on the list of necessities, especially in the late night. Right, let's press a few buttons. Let's see what we can pull out of the background. The stars are a bit stretched, so there might have been a little bit of movement on the tube. A little bit of a breeze can always cause these stretched stars, and especially without I've not got tracking turned on, and it does spoil the image somewhat when you get a little bit of distortion like that. But still, it's not taking it so far out that we can't see the main body of the comet. And it's always nice to press buttons, because you can always drag something out the background. And on the imaging plan, we're just about halfway. In fact, we're just over halfway. We're on exposure 16 of 30. And that's a better shot. The stars are looking a lot rounder. So stretching it now and pressing a few buttons. Hey Tom, welcome back to the stream. Yep, there's still quite a piece there, even though one of the earlier shots this evening showed this in two pieces. I don't think that's it. I think that's a background star. I'm 99% sure that's a background star. I'll just double check. Go back to here. Yeah, that's a background star. There it is, look. That's the main body. You'll see it getting closer. Yeah, so that's a background star. Hey Chris, you trying to catch me out? Yeah, I think a lot of us are suffering with what's going off at the moment, and for me, doing this is a way of forgetting about it, because I work in a supermarket. I deal with hundreds of customers a day, so being able just to step back for a few hours before going back again in the morning is a relief for me. Because although a lot of the customers are pretty nice, you do get the occasional entitled lady or gentleman that doesn't seem to comprehend what's going off at the moment, and we're still the plebs beneath them. So this for me is my escapism. And well, let's face it, you can't get much more of an escape than a couple of 100 million kilometres away. Well, Chris, Tom, we've managed to find the comet every evening we've been out looking for it. So 100% success rate. I'm quite pleased with that. I might not be streaming this weekend, so I want to do a little bit of maintenance on the scope. The mount needs re-greasing, rebalancing, a bit of cable management. So I'm going to dismount the tube, take away the wiring loom. I'm going to clean the camera sensors as well while I'm at it. Then I'm going to strip all the bearings, take off all the drive belts, take off the drive motors, and clean everything up and put some new silicone grease on there. And then I think that's going to take at least a weekend, maybe a little bit longer, and we should be back to 100% plus for the coming events in the skies. I wasn't going to do it till after the moon tour, but with events trying to use the guiding the other evening, it wasn't as successful as it could have been. Hi Victory, how are you? Welcome to the stream. For all the new people that have arrived, I'll just do a quick recap, tell you a little bit what we're doing and what equipment we're using. We're using a Skywatcher Explorer reflector, 300mm lens mirror. It has a 1500mm focal length with a Coma corrector of a multiplication factor of 0.9, which gives us an effective focal length of 1350mm, which gives an F ratio 4.8, which is pretty fast for a reflector. The camera we're using is an ASI 174 mono, non-cord variety, although I have modified it. And the mount is an NEQ6 Pro with a belt drive modification. And our location is central UK, Nottinghamshire. No, Venus would really, on these settings, it would turn the whole screen white, overexpose the whole screen. Now, the star here, I think the focus is a little bit out. That star there, if I bring up the actual screen, is HIP 26806, and it's got a magnitude of 8.02. It's a fixed star. I'll bring you this information across. Look, I was just trying to keep it side by side so you can see the locations. Right, that star there is that one there. The comet and that star there, look, the comet's just past that line. If you draw a line between those two, the comet's just past it. Now if you draw a line between those two, the comet's just past that. So that there is a positive identification for that star there. And there's the visual magnitude 8.02. Venus has a magnitude of minus 1.25, I do believe, at the moment, which is the third brightest thing in the sky. Was it 4.25? It's the third brightest thing in the sky. Sun, Moon, Venus. I think it's at this point of the evening it would be brighter than the space station if it passed over. Right, let's move this out of the way. Capella is further south. I'll show you exactly where we are. I'll show you exactly where we are. Right, that's the Comet. This is reversed as compared to what we're seeing on my screen, on the camera screen. There's those two stars, look. And I think you'll find that it's travelling in that direction. That's the projected Coma. I think that's in actual scale size. And if you look up the top left, it says magnitude 8, although that's a predicted magnitude rather than an observed magnitude. Now if I zoom out slowly, Capella should be lower left of screen. There's Capella, and Capella is magnitude 0.05. If I keep going a little bit more, and I should find Venus down here, look, minus 4.72. That is the third brightest thing in the sky. And that's really close to the horizon for me. It's below the rooftops from my vantage point just here. So if we go zoom back into the Comet and find that star that you thought was, there we go, that star there, magnitude 8. So it's a really insignificant star, to put it down. So magnitude 8 compared to Venus, minus 4.72, which is really bright. Let me just get rid of the ground. There's the moon. The moon is minus 6.29, and the sun should be minus 26. There we go, the sun is minus 26.73. So it's the sun, the moon, Venus. Yep, virtually a line right through, Venus through Capella, and it's about equidistant, the same distance. Capella should be halfway as a rule of thumb. So distance Venus to Capella is almost same distance as Capella to target. Put the ground back in. And centralize it. Oops. There's a satellite going by. If you manage to click on it, it gives you the information. International Designator 2013. So that went up in 2013, that satellite. This software, Stellarium, is free, and it is really, really useful because I've linked it to my telescope. So whatever I can see on the screen, as long as my alignment is accurate, I can go to any target that I find. So like I've clicked on that there, designated by the 4 symbols around it. The Starlink satellite train, they are a pain in the posterior. They cause more problems for imaging and photography. It's almost going to kill ground-based astronomy, astrophotography. It's unfortunate, but Mr. Musk calls it progress. Right, let's go back to see what we've been capturing. We've been away from it too long. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, it's just coming south of that star there now. So we've passed that one earlier on. Now it's going past that one. So it's travelled quite a distance while we've been here. And if we have a look at that, see that double diffraction line there? That means we're slightly out of focus. And I couldn't tell you which way. So I'm going to do the worst thing you could ever do during in the middle of an exposure session. Change the focus. So I've just tweaked the focus a little bit, and we'll wait till the next exposure comes in after this one and see if it's got better or worse. You like the English accent? Well, unfortunately I hear it every day, and I probably don't appreciate it like a lot of people. No, I think there's two. I've lost focus at the moment because as the temperature changes, the mirror distorts. So the focus will change. And with there being two mirrors in the light train, the main 300mm mirror and the secondary 98mm mirror, there's a lot of opportunity for defocusing. So every now and then, especially with temperature changes, it's always best to stop and refocus your equipment. So I've just tweaked it. I've just a little bit. I've done it blind by focusing out by about 1/4 of a millimetre. So we'll see if it improves, and if not, I'll go 1/2 a millimetre. Sorry, 1/8 of a millimetre. I'll go 1/4 of a millimetre in the opposite direction to compensate. But I won't know till this next full exposure's come through. I went the wrong way. Right, I've tweaked it a little bit. In the opposite direction, so this should bring it into focus a little bit better. And we'll know that in about 90 seconds. It's so good, you should be happy. Well, me, I always happy. I've got my youngest daughter at home with me. My eldest daughter's away at university. She visited last weekend, and she's visiting next weekend. And Amanda, if you do visit this stream, how are you getting on with my logo you're supposed to be making me? Hint, hint. Yeah, my daughter's making me a new logo. So when you see my holding screen, standby screen, this one, something that's different. And she's also told me I've got to have a party when I reach 100 subscribers. How cool is that? I'll see if I can get to 100 subscribers before I reach my 60th birthday. There you go, that's a lot tighter focus. You see this star now on this bit? There was two lines before, now there's just one. So that's just brought the focus in a little bit tighter, but unfortunately, look how the stars are stretched. Just a little bit of movement out there on the tube causes that. So this weekend, I'm going to be dismantling everything re-lubricating and reassembling everything with cable management, cleaning mirrors, cleaning sensors, and rebalancing everything. Because last year I did it just after my birthday. This year I want to do it just before my birthday, because I'm setting up to do a moon tour. Spread the word. Yeah, on the smaller screen, I'm actually monitoring the stream this time. I never used to monitor it, so I've actually brought a screen up so I can see what's going out. On the smaller screen, I can actually see the comet and tail pretty distinctly. Whereas while I'm watching it on the big screen connected to my telescope and my observatory, it's not as distinct. I have to sit way back from the screen to be able to see the detail. But on the smaller screen, it's all there. Now that's a better shot. Look how tight those lines are on that star. That's a lot finer focus. Now let's have a look on there. And let's press some buttons. I think I can see two pieces. One piece there, and one piece just a little bit left and above. Move that out of the way. Right, let's clear all the tweaking and see what we've got. And there you can just see the main body and a little bit of tail. In fact, I think there's two pieces there. Oh, that doesn't help. I think I can actually pick out two pieces from that one shot. One brighter one just behind it, and a slightly more diffused one just in front of the brighter one. Right, what do? We press buttons. Right, let's really rack it over, see if we can see these two pieces. Yeah, if we look at this screen now, there's almost two pieces there. Two main pieces side by side. Now you wouldn't normally be able to pull that out on a normal view. You have to really manipulate the photons just to stretch out what's more dominant than the lesser intense elements, and it just brings out the major players, so to speak. So these are the brightest sections, the most densest sections of photons or elements of light that's within that gap. So that to me says there's two major pieces there of that front coma. Now what I'll be doing tomorrow after work, I'll be looking at other people's photographs, and I'll just try and compare what I've got here with what other people have got. In fact, what I'll do, I'll grab a screenshot. Bear with me a second. There we go. Y4 7 split. There we go. Now, tweaking it that little bit more, I can still see two pieces. Yes, there's still a chance that there might be enough there to go past the sun and brighten a little bit. But if it was still in its original configuration, as in one solid mass, it would be as bright as this star here to the right of screen. It will be as bright as that right now, if not brighter. So we are actually looking at the largest piece of what's left of all the fragments. So there's still a distinctive piece there. In fact, there I can see two. See two pieces, look. Well, I can. One piece there, one piece there. So we can have a little tweak. Right, that's the imaging plan finished. So we've actually collected 30 images of that. And looking at that last shot there, there's definitely two pieces from my point of view. I can see two pieces. So tomorrow, after work, I'm going to look for other people's photographs of that and compare what data I've got to other people's, see if anybody else can confirm two major fragments on the leading edge of the comet. So let's clear the stretch, and I can still see two pieces there. Right, it is now 22 minutes to midnight. Let me have a look on Stellarium, and let's see if there's anything that might be worth a quick look at before I go to bed for tomorrow's early shift. Broken Heart Cluster. What's this one up here? Intergalactic Wanderer. The Intergalactic Tramp. So what we got here? The Jolly Roger Cluster. There's Bode's Galaxy again, or Cigar Galaxy, if you wanted to have a quick look at that before I close down. That should be relatively easy to land on. Did you want to have a look at that before I wrap up for the evening? Right, just to show you how easy this software is to use. It's free, and all I've done is I've connected my telescope up to it, and I have to just press these few buttons here. The Hubble picture has 11. I'll have to have a look for that one before I click. In fact, I'll leave it where it is now. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll drag it onto screen. Let me just go on to live view again. I'll leave it on that. Right, I'll leave that on live view for a bit, and I'll see if I can find that Hubble image. Right, I've found some images. We've got two fragments. April the 13th. That is almost identical to what we had on April the 13th. And this is April 20th. So a couple of days ago. The last one I found is a couple of days ago, on the 20th. Let's go back, see if we can find some others. Seen that one. Right, I'll bring this across to what I've just found. Just minimise, reduce that a little bit. It's a pity I can't rotate it to match. Right, let me get this back up and this back up. This one was taken less than 24 hours ago. And I think earlier on in this evening's exposures, we've actually captured the two main fragments there, and I think this third larger piece just here to the rear. Now, that's going to disappear in a second. I'm just going to press buttons or tweak the image, see if I can bring some details out. In fact, it's just going behind that blooming star again now. So that could be, that little fragment there, could be that piece there. And we've definitely seen on a previous image two pieces at the front. So that would coincide with those. So I think we can say we can pick three pieces out for sure. Let's see if I can scroll back through some of my images. That one there looks like it's got two pieces. And that the third piece should be somewhere along there where that star is. So that's going to be in the blooming way. Where's my next one? We can squish and tweak these images. And we can force our eyes to see what's not actually there. Now I think the coma is still the same size. That takes a long time to dissipate, no matter how big the fragments are. Because there's no resistance to it travelling, it's taken a long time to get to the condition it's in now. And it'll take just as long for it to dissipate as it did to be created. Right. For me, I can see two pieces there, and possibly these could be one of the other pieces. Now let's compare that. Two pieces and there. Two pieces and that could be there. Ah. Well, I'm happy that we've got some detail out of it. And we can feel confident that we have similar data to what Hubble has. I think I'll write a letter to NASA and congratulate them on the accuracy of their images compared to ours. Lol. But yeah, it's nice to see that we can actually match some of our visuals to theirs. Right, let's clear that. And we're just coming up to another star, which is going to cause us more problems. Right, bring that back across. Put that back up to 1 by 1. Yeah, that image I've just had up on screen, that video image, that is less than 24 hours old. Where is it? This one. That's less than 24 hours old. That was taken on the 23rd of April. I thought I saw the time earlier on. Oh, I've just got rid of that. Let me just see if I can drag that one back up again. Right. I've got this one. Move that out of the way. Doesn't say what was used to capture the image. That's April the 20th. And that's also April the 20th. Oh, I think I know which one you're on about. Bear with me a second, because I've seen that one somewhere. I need more monitor space. Is that the one you're on about? Bring that one up. Where's lost it there? Is that the one you're on about from Hubble? Yes, the outer part of the Coma, I think, approaching the size of Jupiter or more. But because it's so light, dust particles, there's nothing solid about it. I can close that one. Go back to the other Hubble images. Let me just have a quick look, see if I can find data on the Coma size, because stellarium, if you zoom in onto the, where is it, image on there, it scales, because we've got scales set to active, the Coma. There you go, that's scaled the Coma. Just centralise it. Now that big arc there is supposed to be the exact scale of the Coma. So I think it's significantly smaller than the Sun, and I think I've read something about the actual size. That's the comet there, not that one. And I've got a bit of drift on my scope. This is what I want to address over the weekend. Right, let's have a look. 6 times. Yeah, I did read something or hear something about it. It might have been on one of the news items while I was on my break at work. Let's see if I can find some more data on it. This is where Google comes into its own. Right, it's come up with Wikipedia. Cartoon. Yeah, the Wikipedia's got quite a lot of information about it, and it's quite up to date about the main fragments and everything, and some of its causes. And it's down to magnitude 9 or less. So, and they don't reckon it. They're not expecting it to get bright again. Bear with me, I'm just reading through so you can find information on the actual size of the Coma. It was expected to reach magnitude 4, 3 or 4, which is really easy to see. It's an easily identifiable comet with naked eye viewing. I can't actually find the diameter of the Coma on here. It'll give me something to look for this evening, because it's 3 minutes to midnight. Let's get back to the main camera view, and we've still actually got it on screen without any manipulation. I can still see a part of the main body. Right, let's press some buttons and stretch it about a bit and see if we can pull a little bit more detail out. Between atmospheric distortions, I would say we can still see two pieces there, two major elements of it. And if we try and compare it to that previous one I saw of the Hubble, there should be a third piece just here somewhere. But I can't exactly pick that out at the moment. Could be that piece there. 1, 2, 3. I'll move that out of the way. Right. I've been toying around with the idea of setting up a Discord channel, so everybody can join in live chat rather than just typing messages. Would anybody be interested in joining a Discord, so you could chat rather than type? Just have to let me know. Let me know in the comments after the stream, and I'll look into setting one up for next time. If the Wikipedia article, I'll tell you what, I'll just link you that Wikipedia article. And you can see where I'm getting my information from. There we go. If you have a look at the data in that article, it's pretty recent, it's quite up to date. And they say the magnitude is about Mag 9, which would be about right. I'd say more like a 10 at the moment, because it's fading into the background to such a degree we're having to manipulate the histogram just to bring any reasonable details out. But we're still pulling stuff out the background, we're still pulling a little bit of detail out there. And depending on the weather over the weekend, if it's If it's not predicting clear skies, oh no, that's a better one. If it's not predicting clear skies, I'll do the maintenance. If there is a chance of clear skies, I'll hold off on the maintenance, and I'll try and capture it again at some point over the weekend. Do a follow-up to tonight's stream and see if we can still pull some more data out of it before it disappears altogether. Right, I'll have a look at setting up a Discord channel, and I'll leave the details in the homepage on the main channel page under discussion. I'll leave a link there, and I'll also link it in live at the beginning of each stream. As long as it stays manageable. I mean, I've only got about 35, 36 subscribers, and even if only half of the people turn up, it can get lively. So I may be looking for mods at some point, so don't go away, you guys. Stay close. But on that view on screen now, 2, possibly 3 pieces in that view. The only drawback is with that shot, there was movement on the tube. So I'll wait for the next exposure to come in, see if it's settled down, there was no movement, so you get a better shot, to have a bit of a closer look. I would have liked to have done another imaging run, another 30 frames, but like I say, I've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not going to have much chance to sleep. And at my age, sleep is important. That's what everybody keeps telling me anyway. Yeah, that's right. As the fragments start getting left behind, the dust intensifies, because where there's new breaks, there's new exposed surface areas. So the new exposed surface areas get heated up by the sun and the solar winds, and so will be giving off a lot more dust, because they're not weathered, or sorry, case hardened as I call it. So they'll be more readily giving off gas, dust and particles to make it look even more widespread. Yep, cheers, watch it. Nice to have you along again. And I've decided to call tweaking this spectrum pressing buttons. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. So when it comes to manipulating the image, I'm going to call it pressing. Let's press some buttons. Yeah, you can still see definite parts there. 1, possibly 2, possibly 3. But it's so faint now, just about every image we take, we've got to manipulate to pull anything out of it at all. Hey, no one, good evening, mate. Welcome to the stream. I'll just do a recap of what we've been up to this evening. We've just done a follow-up stream from earlier on in the week. Tweaking sounds rude. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, this is just a follow-up stream from the previous ones during the week. Every evening that we've been on, we've found the comet, and we've got different images of it as it's been breaking up. We got the initial breakup and the 4 main fragments earlier on, and this is just trying to catch it before it completely drops below our threshold of capture. The equipment we're using is a Skywatcher 300mm PDS, and the mount is a Skywatcher 1. It's the NEQ6 Pro with a belt modification. The camera is the ZWO ASI 174 Mono with a cooling mod. And as you can see on screen, we can actually see still some significant parts of it, but we've had to manipulate the histogram to pull the details out. If I move the magnifier out the way and clear all the modifications, you can just about see it in the background. Just about see it there. So this is where I say I'm going to start pressing some buttons. And it's at this point where you manipulate what data you've captured to bring out the various elements of what the equipment can pick up that we can't initially see with our naked eyes. We just manipulate the data we've got to show different parts of the spectrum, or the different intensities of the light that we've captured. Yes, I will. That's a good idea. Once it's finally beyond the capabilities of the gear we've got, I'll do a timeline stream. I might even make a video rather than stream it. I've never made a video before in my whole life, but I know a daughter who has. So I shall employ my daughter and her numerous skills to help me create a video and a timeline with images from the very first capture to the very last, with screen captures and all. And I think somebody's shining a torch down the end of the... There we go. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, the magnitude, I don't think there was a flare in magnitude. It's been slowly dimming since we first started the capture beginning of the week. Wikipedia estimates it at magnitude 9. I think it's a little bit less than that. I think it's more like a magnitude 10, 10.5, because it's really, really dim. And the amount of exposure I'm using now to pick it up, if we compare this to, if I can find a picture from earlier on in the week, bear with me a second. Well, I don't know what's going off now. Oh, I don't know what's going off with the camera right now. Just let this next exposure come in and see what's happening, and I might just have to reduce it somewhat. Because the last two shots seem to get overly bright. No, I wasn't actually touching any buttons. As I click on these images, it just tweaks them to the settings of this histogram right now. Oh, it's cleared up now. I think there might have been a glitch in the machine. The computer might not like how many tasks I've got running at the moment. Yeah, look. That's the state of play with the processor. And it's gone again. I think it's just randomly setting the histogram higher than what it actually is. So right, let's do a stretch and let's just press some buttons. I can just see one major body part there. Now I can see two pieces and possibly a third just there. One piece, and possibly a third just there. I'll just copy paste that and search it. Something's going off right now. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll get my first T-shirt. I think my first major stream is this Comet. We'll have a logo. It's going to be the histogram with a Comet and the words "Let's press some buttons" going across it. I've not checked how many subs I've got for a while. Let me just open another window and have a look. There it goes again. Look, it keeps superimposing its own settings, overriding the settings. Hey, I've just got to 40 subscribers. And my daughter says I've got to have a cake when I get to 100. So let's see if I can get to 100 subscribers before July the 25th. And I'll have a dual cake, one with my birthday candles on it, plus another 40 for the number of subscribers. It'll be a fire hazard in my own house. Right, let's press some buttons. It says 40 on my screen. Here's an idea. I'll put some designs together. I've never actually thought about streaming seriously until I started a couple of weeks ago doing this. I did a couple of tests to see how it went, and it seems to be working. people are actually interested in what I'm interested in. So that's a bonus, really. So here we go, pressing some buttons. And there it goes again. Now you can see two distinct pieces in there. And I don't mean that star. I've already made more friends and I'm having more enjoyment from doing this, from sharing this with people of a like mind than what I ever expected. So even if I only made 3 subs, I'd be exceedingly happy to be able to share what I'm doing with others. So let's keep pressing them buttons. And at the moment, every time we come near a background star, it really interferes in being able to pick out the data. Right, let's just move this out of the way. That star's going to be in the way again for the next 15 minutes. Oh God, look at the time. Yep. I'm happy with what I've got already. Just the fact that I'm sharing something that I enjoy with people of a like mind. And nobody seems to be too frustrated with me pressing buttons. Yeah, you can still see the major part of it, and there are definite two segments there. And I've learned one lesson already: don't sit too close to the screen, because the closer to the screen I get, the less I see. Sit back and enjoy. I think Doomsday would be a little bit overkill. Yeah, that's a nice bit of data even there without pressing buttons, because we've still got the main comet there. In fact, let's go back close up on that one now. I think there's a piece there. 2 pieces there and a piece there. Move that out of the way. It's easier to see on the unmagnified version than it is on the close-up version. Right, I'm going to have to wrap up soon, because I've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I've got an 8-hour shift. I actually think it looks longer. I mean, when I do a review, when I do the review video, I'll look at some of these points, whether the tail's got longer, the coma's got wider, how it's dimmed, how fast it dimmed, and the number of fragments we were able to pick up compared to pictures on the same date. So there'll be a lot to try and cram into a short video, and I'm going to have to learn, or perhaps reset, or perhaps even update the software to see what keeps causing that. But anyway, it's getting late, and like I say, I've got work in the morning. I'd like to say thank you for everybody for coming along for the ride. I hope you enjoy what we're doing this evening, and there should be a lot more coming up. I'll be making, as suggested, a review video to review all the things we've learned, all the things we've seen, and look over some of the points that have been raised. I shall also look into setting up a Discord server so we can all join in live chat. So please like and subscribe. It helps me enormously to know there's more people out there enjoying what I'm doing. And if you hit that bell button, you'll know next time I come live, and you can join in the fun from the beginning. So for now, this is me, Andy, signing off. I hope you all have a nice evening, and I hope you enjoy and come back again next time. So for now, and until next time,